Hello and welcome to this Introduction to Forces, Unit 2 in AP Physics 1. What this diagram illustrates here is there is this character, this person, on something we call an inclined plane. And on this inclined plane, the student is pushing on this box, and we can see there's a number of different forces. Some of them you recognize, friction and pushing force and gravity, and there's this other one called normal. And when it comes to understanding forces, there can be a complex set of names and concepts around forces. In this unit, we are going to tease out what all of these different forces mean to each other. And the big overview, if we are to look conceptually at this course, mechanics course like AP Physics 1, it consists of mechanics, and there are two major questions that we answer in this course. The first one is, what is the nature of the motion? And that one we have completely exhausted, and that is kinematics. What's the nature of the motion? And then the second question is, why do objects move the way we do? And we've already begun looking at that. And we've already learned that the most important of all these ideas is the conservation of momentum. The second most important of these ideas is the conservation of energy. But we're going to talk about and learn about in this unit is forces. And forces are what we use to help explain what's going on with conservation of momentum and conservation of energy. Forces are tools for understanding things. And after we finish learning more about the forces, we'll cap that off with learning more about conservation of energy. So what we're going to talk about in the ensuing series of lessons is today is the overview, and then we're going to have several lessons on the evolution of forces and what that means. Then we'll learn about equilibrium and disequilibrium, free body diagrams, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of different force types. And there are a whole variety of those. This word F means fundamental and D means derived. And you'll notice the F's are in bold, and you will come to know why that is and what those mean. But we'll look at a number of these different forces and some applications. And then we'll study the geometry of forces, including inclined planes that I just mentioned with you, and center pointing or centripetal forces in several different contexts. And then we'll look at some very common general cases, elevators, pulleys, and Atwood's machine. And we'll both begin and end talking about the forces, meaning the forces that we come across in this unit. And let me introduce you to those forces right now. The first thing I will point out is that there are a group of forces that the AP provides, these formulas. And then there are all of those that you can or should know. Now, I will tell you that those in gray here, I will show you, but you don't need. And when we look at these formulas, you'll notice perhaps this first one. We'll start with here, Fg equals mg is over here, and it's rearranged. This next set of formulas you would recognize from being from change in momentum. And those you can find right across here. And you'll see this one comes into play, and this one comes into play, all combined into this one five-way equivalence we have there. And this next one you'll find below that, this one doesn't appear at all. And it looks pretty big and complicated, but when we come to study, you'll see it's not so big and complicated, but it doesn't appear at all. You'll probably notice now this one, which is right there. This next one, again, doesn't appear at all. The following one is right there. And this one is right there. And you'll see this one right here like so. And as I mentioned, this does not appear, this does not appear, and this does not appear. And those on this side that I just highlighted are formulas that you would be expected to know and be able to use. And you'll also notice that even with this one, it's AC equals V squared over R, but there's a lot more to it. And so these you'll come to see and know and understand what they are. But there is more to the formulas you need than the AP will give you.